everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of stormy weather. Why is that? I'm still a little bit sick. I'm still a little bit under the weather, and this stuff just works. It just works. Some of my dark moon teas. So good. So good, guys. It really helps. A lot of you guys have been sending me well wishes because we've been talking through Instagram and through other sources, other means, especially over at the community channel, our community Discord. And if you guys didn't know, for the last week, I haven't been doing so many videos. And the reason being is myself and my entire family got the virus. So that being said, basically, we've had the flu for, I don't know, like a week now, and everything's pretty much all set. We just have a little bit of congestion, so if you hear that, my apologies. Anyways, getting right back into it, and hopefully we're going to start banging out a lot more videos, so stay tuned for a lot more going on. I have a bunch of reviews that I'm back-ordered on doing, that I really need to do these reviews and whatnot, so we're going to be having a lot more content coming very soon. If you're hanging out with me and you have not yet hit the subscribe button, subscribe. Become a member of the channel. You can click the join button down here. You can click the little bell notification button over there so you can get my videos when they come out immediately or when I go live. There's a lot of things you can do. I'll get into that later. Anyways, as you can see with the name of this video, the idea of, are you ready for a lawsuit? And I thought that was very important, especially in today's day and age and the digital age that we live in and what is going on in society right now, especially. And I think that a lot of us, especially small business owners like myself, we worry about lawsuits, and are we taking the appropriate measures to combat them or limit our liability? And that's what this video is about. I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving you advice. I don't play an attorney here on YouTube or on TV or wherever. I'm basically going to just give you my experience, and hopefully my experience will give you fodder or food for thought to analyze your business, your small business, or maybe you have a larger business. Is there things in your contracts that really should be there that are not, and whatnot? Well, this entire discussion revolved around me reading an article. Obviously, I've been sick for the last 3, 4, or 5 days. It was from the Washington Post, and the article was entitled something like, "First came ransomware attacks, now comes the lawsuits." And that kind of makes sense. There's people that were adversely affected by the ransomware attacks that happened, that are continuing to happen. So if you remember a couple of videos ago, we talked about JBS. They are this meat packing company that supplies and distributes meat throughout the United States and some portions of the world. And they were hit with ransomware. And at that time, meat distribution from the company basically died. That was it. And they had to go and pay
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
the ransomware people to be able to get the keys to unlock all of their data because everything was shut down. That was a major ordeal, and it was in the news everywhere. What happened to the meat? Why are meat prices going up? Why can't I get meat? And that's what ended up happening. We also talked about Colonial Pipeline and how they were attacked with ransomware, locked out of all of their data because they didn't have appropriate backups. And we'll talk about that in a minute also. But they were locked out of all their data. They had to pay the ransomware people, these cyber criminals, let's say, to get the keys to unlock their data to be able to turn the pipelines back on. Well, during that time when the pipelines were turned off, what was happening? No gas, no fuel throughout almost the entire east coast of the United States for quite some time. So a lot of these companies that were affected by not receiving the fuel, they're suing. They're saying that their clients were obviously affected because they could not supply the fuel. They were affected because they couldn't make any money because they couldn't sell the fuel. And what they were stating is that according to the Post, Colonial Pipeline is liable because their cybersecurity is shit. That's basically it. They're saying that in the lawsuits that are being levied against them, that they should have been more proactive. They shouldn't have been able to have their entire pipeline shut down by an 18-year-old kid. I don't know if that's the fact, but the point of the matter is, through this ransomware attack, it shut down all oil and all gas throughout the entire East Coast for like a couple of weeks. It was a mess, right? And now they're being sued for it because of their lack of cybersecurity. So it got me thinking. And I think it should maybe get you guys thinking also. I was thinking to myself, lawsuits due to data loss, I think, are going to become more and more prevalent. Because of the data, the cyber age that we live in, data security is becoming more and more important. Backing up your data is becoming more and more mission critical, and people are starting to figure that out. But the criminals are too, and they're beelining for our data. And this is what has been going on. Now, my question, I guess, is what happens if you lose your client's data? Now, you being an entrepreneur, you being a small business owner like myself, what happens? Now, some people are like, well, you just can't sue people for nothing. You can't sue. I didn't do it or whatever. That's not really how it works. I remember one of my attorneys years back told me, said, Joe, anyone can sue anyone. You can even sue a ham sandwich. I'm like, you could sue a ham sandwich? He's like, yeah, you could sue a ham sandwich. It doesn't mean that you'll prevail in your litigation, but you could sue a ham sandwich. And I was thinking to myself, yeah, that's basically it. And what happens when someone sues you, you have to now hire an attorney. If you don't have money to hire an attorney, what happens? You basically lose, right? So no matter what, we need to be able to secure ourselves or limit our liability. And I remember years ago when I first started doing these massive events, I was doing events with like 500-600 people, all stars, actors, just big wigs, let's call it. And the reason they hired me for doing a lot of these events, because they knew I wouldn't sell their photographs, where a lot of other photographers would. They would get $15,000 from like a New York City magazine just for getting a certain shot of this actor or this person. I never did that. And what would happen is in my business, people would find out that, look, he's a credible guy and he won't sell our clients at the time, or our people that are participating in these big events, their images, their likenesses, right? He won't do it. So I got a lot of work when I first started. This is over a decade ago. But I remember at the time, to shoot these events, a lot of times I had to hold $1 million, sometimes $5 million, and a couple of times $10 million worth of liability insurance. And I'm like thinking to myself, holy God, that is a lot of insurance. I'm not going to bop someone in the head with my camera, but that wasn't the point. The point is to be able to shoot in these events, in these locations, with these specific people. Liability insurance was absolutely mission critical. So of course I had it. And at that time, once getting it and understanding and communicating with my attorney at the time, I understood that I also need to protect myself, not just protect the venue, but also protect myself by writing things into the contract that would limit my liability based on loss. How about if images are lost or video is lost? Or as they call it, an act of God was to happen, and one of these little cards went south. It's happened in the past, and images were lost. But at the time, I had specific legal information put into all of my contracts that everyone had to sign that would limit my liability if there was a loss of data. All right? This is before all of this ransomware nonsense and all the rest of the stuff has been going on. I've had that in the contracts for decades, decade and a half, right? Just to limit my liability. And I think that for you guys, it is something that you should probably think about also. Now, what language? I'm not going to tell you because I'm in Florida. The language that needs to go into my contract is different to the language that needs to be in your contract anywhere else on even the planet. In the UK, it's going to be different than in Arizona or in New York. All right. So I would look into that. What do you have in your TOS, your terms of service? What kind of limited liability information do you have in there that you are forcing your clients to sign before you take the job? Are you covered? Could you still get sued? Yes. Just like my attorney said, they can sue you no matter what. They can sue a ham sandwich, right? You have to be prepared for that, but also you need to limit your liability. And seeing that these lawsuits are being levied against all of these major companies that are being hit by ransomware, I don't know how good their TOS is, how good their contracts are, right? But if they're written really well, chances are they're probably not going to get hit with too much. They might, let's say, resolve it out of court with a little bit of cha-chang, and that's about it. But we'll see what ends up happening. It's more about us, the small business owner. What do we need to do? What language needs to be put in there, right? That is really what we need to figure out and have it in there so that if something does happen and data is lost, we're covered. Now, the whole idea of backing up and data loss, if we do a good job using the 3-2-1 methodology of backing up our data, and I'll talk about this once again at the end of this video, the bottom line is I created a NAS or a network attached storage device. I built it, I used Unraid to create it, and all of my data is there. Is that perfect? No, but it's an archival spot where everything sits. And then I have cold storage where images of that massive backup is backed up off-site in another location so that we have multiple backups and we have it stored monthly. Why is that? So if we get hit with some type of attack, right, and everything's locked out, we can go back to a month and then restore and see if that malware is still there. If it's not, we can go to 2 months back. We can go back month by month by month in cold storage and restore it and not have to worry about getting our data back from one of these would-be cyber criminals, right? So there's things that you can do. Does that make you 100% safe? No. Once again, I've said this in the past. A door on your house is simply a deterrent. Your windows are a deterrent. If someone wants to come into your house, they will be standing on the back side of your bedroom door at 3 a.m. That's just it. If someone wants to come in, they will. But the door, the lock, the windows are deterrents. And that's what we need to do when we back up our data and also when we put the language that we do into the contracts that we make our clients sign. It's a means for us to limit our liability, right? So if you guys are interested in that book that I wrote, How to Create a Digital Fort Knox, Backing Up Your Digital Life. If you're interested in this, I still have some available for either signed copies or just copies like this. We also have them in PDF, either which way, or you could go to Amazon and get the Kindle version, whatever. But I created this as a means of taking you down that journey of me creating that network attached storage device and that NAS and storing all of the data there and how to do it very affordably. All right. Very simple, step-by-step hand-holding you. Go over to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. You can find the prologue to this. You can get it for free. It's a PDF. Go download it. Once again, it's free. Also, if you want to grab one of my other ebooks, you can do so on that same page. Once again, JCristina.com/books. So, my final question to you is, what are you doing to limit your liability? What are you doing? Are you doing a better job of backing up? Are you putting specific language into your terms of service, your TOS, or into your contracts that you're making your clients sign? What are you doing to limit your liability? In the comment area below this video, let's have that discussion. Put all of your thoughts in there and help the rest of the community. I've given you things that I am doing. I'm personally doing a really good job backing up all of my client data as well as my personal data, as well as putting specific lingo, let's say legalese, as they call them, that came from my attorney into all of my contracts, right? That's what I'm doing. Once again, what are you doing? And when we're done talking down here below this video, head over to community.jcristina.com. That is our creative Discord server. We can have more conversations about this. Once again, community.jcristina.com. If you want to support the channel, you can click this little bell down here that says join. You become a member. You can give $1 or $2 a month, whatever you would like to. And I get to give you perks for doing so. Also, if you just want to throw this creative couple of bucks, buy me a cup of tea, you can do so. I set up a little PayPal link. It's right about here, which is JC Tip Jar. Once again, jctipjar@gmail.com. You can send a couple bucks. It's up to you. It's not necessary. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years. And hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be awesome. Once again, thank you so much for all those well wishes. We're getting better, stronger every day. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.